Hello, my name is Osman, and in this video I will be going over all you need to know to start warrior tanking at level 15. Warrior tanking is one of the most entertaining classes to start off tanking with, and will be a great tank at endgame content as well. There are a few things we have to cover before we jump into tanking, such as abilities, gear, and also talents. For your talents, make sure your first 2 talent points go into Blood and Thunder. This is a must if you plan on being a good tank. This spreads your rend to every enemy nearby and makes AoE tanking a lot easier. For your gear, make sure you only wear mail until level 40. Don't bother with cloth or leather because it's not good for you. When you find new armor, look for stamina and strength on it since this serves you best. For weapons, do not use a two-handed weapon. This will not allow you to block. So instead, use a slow one-handed weapon and a shield. This means no daggers. Defensive stance is the only stance you should be in when you tank. You won't have charge yet in this stance, but that shouldn't slow you down. Shield Slam deals a good amount of damage while dispelling a buff off of the target. It has a 6-second cooldown and is good for creating a threat gap. Rend is a bleed that lasts for 9 seconds and should be your opener in most fights until you get charged. Thunderclap is an AoE that spreads your rend to every enemy nearby you. It also slows their attack speed by 20%. Taunt forces an enemy to attack you for 3 seconds and is on an 8-second cooldown. Heroic Strike is on a 3-second cooldown and should only be used when you have large amounts of rage to use up. Victory Rush is the only heal that you have, and you only get it after you deal a killing blow, so save it for an emergency. When faced with an AoE tanking situation, make sure your first 2 attacks are as follows: Rend and then Thunderclap in that order. That way you spread your rend and have bleeds on everyone around you, allowing you to AoE tank comfortably. And then keep Thunderclapping to make sure your rend stays up on everybody. And don't be afraid to use Victory Rush in these situations, since it may be stressful on your healer.
There you are.
When you're tanking, make sure to be watching the ground at all times to avoid any AoE damage that appears on the ground. It makes life a lot easier on your healer when you're not taking unnecessary damage. You don't have charge yet at this level in defensive stance, so do not switch from defensive stance to battle stance to be able to charge. You will lose all of your rage and have to start back over. This could be enough time to lose threat and have mobs run all over the place. So just run up, use Rend and Thunderclap, and maybe a taunt if it's needed. Sometimes you may need to run around to gather up mobs. When you do this, just apply Rend to as many of them as you can. This way the bleeds keep increasing your threat as you run around. Then once you have them all gathered up, a simple Thunderclap will secure the deal for you. Sometimes when you think you have them all under control, a mob that you missed will run straight for your healer and start beating on him. Just taunt it over and start beating back. Teach it a lesson for attacking your healer. Make sure when you're tanking to have the boss face away from the group. Use Rend and Thunderclap to start off so that way there is a bleed and their attack speed is slowed. Use Shield Slam when it is off of cooldown to keep a good threat gap. Heroic Strike when you have a lot of rage to dump. Pay attention to the ground so that you don't stand in any AoE. Use Victory Rush as an emergency button if you have it or during big pulls. Always keep mobs off of your healers. Never use a two-handed weapon to tank, and always be in defensive stance. This has been my How to Tank Protection Warrior Guide. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Osman here. Thanks for watching.